We're back. Graveyard Shift Movie Podcast, episode number 64. This week, it was Tyler's pick. And he was coming off the heels of one of the worst movies we've ever watched. So the bar was set extremely low for whatever he picked. And he picked a movie called Green Room from 2015. I don't know the guy's name that died.
Anton something.
I can't pronounce it. What is he, like, Polish?
I think he's Russian?
Maybe. Anyway, and Patrick Stewart is in it. Shout out Patrick Stewart. But Green Room from 2015.
I think it's Yelchin.
Yeah. This is, by the way... Oh, go ahead.
He's Russian.
Okay. This is, by the way, the last movie he made before he died. So, my fucking ear hurts like this.
Oh, is that sympathy pain for dude?
Yeah. But anyway, this movie, so you texted me when you were like 10 minutes into it, and you were like, man, what a fucking good premise for a movie, right? And the movie hadn't even really started.
Yeah, it hadn't, but you could tell, like, the setup of where, well, when you watch horror movies like we do, you could tell, like, not what was going to happen, but like, this is the way that they move the boat in the direction or whatever. Like, it was decent.
And, like, I agreed with you. And part of me was really sad that, because watching it, you know it's going to take a turn. And part of me was sad because I was like, man, if this guy just made a movie that was just this, like punk rock band, you know, trying to siphon gas to all their different, you know, so I was really scared whenever the change was going to pop up that I wasn't going to like it as much. We'll get to, I don't know how you feel about when the change comes. This movie was right up my fucking alley. I really like this movie. I'm going
to be fair,
go ahead.
You are an A24 fan.
I am an A24 fan. Yeah. And
that being said, this wasn't an A24 movie at all to me.
No, yeah.
Because most A24 movies are fucking out there. Like,
this is probably the most grounded one we've... Like, there's nothing supernatural or anything in this movie. It's people, which we'll get into. But I'm going to slap a big old 8 on this one, Tyler.
Yeah, it was a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
There's a couple things that... keep it from getting him. I don't know. You're trying to wait for you to drink because you're stopping and nodding. But a couple things that, like, I think I don't want to say bring it. Well, yeah, I'm going to say bring it down. It doesn't ruin the movie at all, but it's just shit I didn't like. But I think like 7 to 8 for sure. I think it's even a great movie for anyone.
Yeah.
This is a slight spoiler, but there's like. It's them versus, like, some skinhead, alt-right, like...
Well, I mean, if you look up the movie, that's in the description, so...
So, like, I guess that's something that you wouldn't want to expose, like, your kids to or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty gruesome movie, so it's probably not for younger folks to begin with, but, like, anyone 14 and up, right? This movie just slams.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be good stuff to watch.
Yeah.
So. And it even had an oh boy, oh fuck moment. So
yeah,
I don't know if I said yet, but I'm giving it a 7.
Okay,
maybe an 8. Like it's in between. I guess you can say 7.5.
Yeah. All right. Well, spoiler warning for Green Room. I recommend. This is a recommend from old Tommy. I got the Blu-ray on the way. it's a Blu-ray movie. You can chalk it up. One day when I get better at editing, I'm gonna have we're gonna have title cards, you know, when best of worst stuff pops up, and then if it's a Blu-ray movie, it's gonna and something's gonna pop up. But anyway, I recommend go check it out before you listen to this, or just listen. It's fine. Yeah. But anyway, Green Room 2015. Spoiler warning. You've been warned. Yeah. So like I said, like the first 10-15 minutes alone just got me. It was everything I was into. It was just like this punk rock stuff. It was them. The first scene of the movie is them waking up in a cornfield that their driver during the night had fallen asleep and they just drove off the road into a cornfield. And
So us being, I'm gonna call us horror professionals now, since we've
okay.
been doing this for like a year and a half. We've been watching horror movies our whole lives, but
Hmm.
were you like, oh boy, here we go straight into it, middle of a cornfield, let's go, you know? Like,
Yeah, no, I didn't know
oh,
what was.
we've been watching a lot of Chainsaw lately too, so I
Uh huh.
was like, here, oh, strap in, boys, it's a big one, and it
Yeah.
really has nothing to do with the movie at all.
Yeah, like I think I did expect like I thought it was gonna be one of the things where you see the car in the cornfield, and then like you would go in the rest of the movie, it would and then lead up to that moment where they're in the cornfield, and you would see what was happening. But no, that was just the beginning of the movie. They just drove off the road during the night.
The guy literally fell asleep at the wheel, and instead of crashing and dying or anything bad happening, he just ended up in a cornfield.
Yeah, like and yeah, they wake up and they're like, "Oh man, that's crazy." But like if they were anywhere, it could have wound up pretty bad, but
Yeah, yeah.
wound up all right for them. So then
So
go ahead.
my question
All right.
is, and this is weird, this is kind of jumping ahead, but it seemed like they wanted this movie in the past, but there's one point in the film where it obviously shows that this is a current day movie.
Yeah, I can't remember what it is, but I know what you're talking about where it seems
The
like it's supposed to be in the past.
the interviewer
But the
has like a
interview,
state of the art like voice recorder.
well,
Like,
yeah, he has that, and he also asked them why they don't have any social media presence.
yeah, yeah. So you're like, what?
Yeah, which
Because
that
they
would,
could have made this an '80s movie, right? And it would have
yeah,
been
yeah,
perfect. Like, it still would have worked.
which
So,
that social media question would come back to, you know, to
bite him in the ass.
yeah, to bite him because they do an interview at the beginning of this with this guy who I'm assuming he's putting this interview somewhere. I think he works for a radio station, um, and he's in charge of getting them into play somewhere. Um, but he does an interview with them, and like he asks them, why don't you have any social media presence? Doesn't really sound like these people upload their music online either. They're sort because the first thing the guy, he's like, you working on new material, and the girl's like, yeah, maybe enough for a 7 inch. And so they're like sticking the fucking records and shit, and they do some like super music snob like
Yeah, hipster bullshit.
yeah,
Where
like
it's like,
you
I
gotta
don't feel
live
like it
in
holds the meaning of the music.
yeah, and they're like, we just perform live. You guys show up and live in it. There is no, you know. And so it was like, okay, which watching music interviews and stuff over time, like those people, you've heard that before. So it was like, okay,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, they like we said they siphoned some gas from a skate roller skate rink, I think it was, because the guy asked, he's like, ice skaters or roller skaters, because hockey players fight more. Uh, but basically, the fucking guy who's supposed to get them scheduled at a gig, I guess, what happened where he's not really good there anymore?
His last show, people were like vomiting and throwing
Okay,
feces. So
it,
the governor made
yeah,
it to where he couldn't book shows anymore.
all right. Kind of makes it sound like, once again, if this was in the '80s, you're like, oh, it was G.G. Allen. He
Yeah,
he was there.
like the heyday of punk,
Yeah,
but like it wasn't. It's like, yeah, this is, but like I don't want to alienate anybody, but that's kind of what punk music's gotten to where it's just all shock and no awe. It's like, oh, how can we go against grain this week? We're gonna throw poop. It's like, oh, okay. You can just play the instruments. They're like, nah,
yeah,
nah, nah. We poop.
yeah.
So, anyways,
But there also is a part in this interview where the guy asked them if you were on a deserted island, what band would you have there to play forever? And I think the girl, I don't remember what the girl says. The girl in the band. Who the fuck did she? I know the one guy says Misfits. I think another one might have said Misfits. Fucking the one guy who I think later is like the jujitsu dude says Black Sabbath. Well, he goes, if I pick Black Sabbath, can I get Ozzy and Dio? Which, first off, here's a hot take for you. Black Sabbath isn't Black Sabbath without Ozzy Osbourne. Like they made like the, I think they made, I think they only made one album with Ronnie James Dio, and then they went to another guy. But like the Dio stuff is all right, but it's not Black Sabbath. It's Dio, you know. Take that. Get mad at me in the comments.
Yeah. Ooh.
But yeah, and
I don't
then
think anyone would disagree with you.
Yeah.
Well, I guess there are some.
there's some that are probably like Dio was the, you know.
Dio's great.
Dio's great, yeah, but it's not Sabbath.
Yeah.
But and then the kid, what instrument does this guy play? Who ends up being like the main guy, sort of unassuming. You don't know at first that he's gonna be the main dude.
Pretty sure he plays the bass.
Is that what? Okay, yeah.
He's the bass player. The girl plays guitar. The other guy's the lead singer, and the other dude's drums.
Okay.
And he has to be the bass player because bass players always think they're cooler than they ever will.
Hell yeah, man. But yeah, he asked the bass player dude, and the guy can't come up with an answer, or he doesn't want to say. He's like, "Will you edit this out?" And the guy said he was like, "Yeah," or something. And so he doesn't say. That'll be a running thing throughout this movie. And by running, I mean they mention it like 3 times. It's not really like a big thing, but it's there. So
who's your pick for?
I was gonna
for punk though. Let's just
for
say punk. Because we all like, me and you like everything weird.
Uh-huh.
So let's narrow it down.
Yeah, because like if it was just any music,
it wouldn't be
punk.
I just thought of that, so I don't have an answer ready. I know who it'd be. I always forget their names though. Famous T-shirt.
If it takes a while for us to answer, I'll just edit this down. So don't worry about it. Well, the thing is. Okay, go ahead.
Famous T-shirt, if that gives you any hint to what mine would be.
A famous T-shirt, huh?
Yeah. If you think about it, you'll know, but for some reason I can't ever think of the name of the band.
Well,
we might have the same answer, you just don't know.
No, well, because the one on the top of my head I'm not going to pick, just because...
The one on top of my head is Social Distortion, but I'm not going to pick them.
Yeah, story of my life, man. The one on the top of my head was Green Day, but there's a reason I'm not picking them. Because they haven't been punk for fucking...
Dookie.
Well, I guess you could do, like, Green Day from, like, 94 to 2000. But I don't know.
I mean, that Dookie album was great, but I don't know.
Whoa. It's all about Insomniac, man. This is bad.
Okay, mine's Joy Division. There's got to be. They make the best music of all time. But that's why I said, you know, how everyone has the Joy Division T-shirt, and I was like, they have a famous T-shirt. But
mine might be like Bad Religion or something.
I mean,
Bad Religion has like a lot of just, you know, well that's punk in general. Is a lot of like 2.5 minute, like you know.
It's the only reason I didn't pick Misfits is because like all their songs are over so quickly, you don't have time to get into them.
Yeah, and like Bad Religion, they always have the guys in the background like, you know, like I dig that shit. But
I mean, you go the Clash. There's a lot of like
Clash,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of like I'm sticking with Joy Division, but
all right.
In the movie, they do much like we're doing now, to where they pick one, and then they change it, and then they change it, and they change it, and no one has like a for sure answer.
Yeah.
The first time.
Yeah.
So.
Because originally I was gonna be like, well, Pink Floyd, but then like Pink Floyd's depressing. Then after a while on the island, you're like, God damn it. So anyway, but so the guy, turns out that his gig, he can't get him booked where he originally was going to. So
okay, this is one of the things that made me upset about this movie.
Okay.
They're obviously a no-name punk band, right?
Yeah.
Like very unknown, unheard.
Uh-huh.
People who do hear them like them, but you know it's really small because they don't use social media,
Yeah.
and that's like how you do music now, pretty
Yeah.
much. And like, so this guy wants to interview him and put him on the radio, and you know, put him in a show, or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And then he like, hey, the show fell through. Any of these guys would still fucking love it to be interviewed, right? Like just to have someone take notice of them. It's almost like validation.
Uh-huh.
But you know, the one dude actually tries to fight this guy. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he tries to fight him after the guy ends up, he's like, well, I can't get you booked here, so I'll book you here. And then you cut to, they're just in a diner. It's
it's like a Mexican
yeah.
restaurant, yeah.
And they're singing Maverick's fucking theme song. The guy's like, I'm always broke and I'm alone. What have I become? And I was like, oh shit. But yeah, I thought that was pretty good. Like you see, if you go on YouTube, you can see. I think it's a thing now where the one band, I can't remember their name, but they go to Denny's and they play like their set at Denny's or whatever. But yes,
That's another gimmick, you know.
yeah. So they're leaving, and then when they're leaving is when the guy's like, "Oh, I gave you my cut too," and the girl like counts it up, and she's like, "Split between all of it, $6." And so the one dude, like I said, that we learned later, knows jujitsu or whatever, just like picks him up by the neck, and he's like, "You motherfucker!" And they're like, "Come on, dude, let's just get out of here." So they're about to leave, and the dude feels bad, and he goes, "Well, let me call my cousin, who could get you booked at this, place." And they're like, they say something about near here, and he goes, "Oh no, the scene's dead. You got to go near Portland." So that's what they do. They get booked at this place near Portland. They siphon gas, and shit to get it on their way there.
And they know ahead of time that it's like a skinhead Nazi thing.
Yeah.
Which is weird because like there's that aspect of punk music which kind of follows it around and is like the, I don't know, like the bad guy of the group, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Where you gotta like, you be listening to something and you gotta like kind of listen and be like, I
Uh-huh.
don't
Be
know
like,
about
oh,
this.
yeah.
Yeah, like, but they don't even like shy away from it. They're like, yeah, sure, you know? And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
all right.
And
So they're kind of douchebags in that aspect.
yeah.
But
But they get there, and the first skinhead they're greeted with, I recognized him. I mistook him at first. I thought he was someone else. And then as I was watching, I was like, and finally I looked him up. And so the one skinhead who ends up having a little bit of a bigger part later on in the movie is played by the guy who's the lead singer in the band in Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Looks a lot.
Daniel, right?
Yeah, looks a lot different with his hair shaved. He also, we never mentioned it, he's the guy in Jezebel. He's the love interest in Jezebel.
Oh, is he?
And I was like, holy shit. I was like, this dude looks totally different. I was like, I did not know that at all. Yeah. So he's in this movie. But anyway, they get ushered into the green room, which it didn't dawn on me until about 50 minutes into the movie why the movie was called Green Room. And they're in there, and there's like Confederate flag, and there's Nazi flags, and there's KKK written on the wall and shit. And
SS everywhere,
yeah,
the lightning bolts and everything. Yeah, it's
and
a very racist place.
Yeah. And so bass player dude goes, "Hey, I have an idea," and they get up there, and he's like, "I don't know about this," and the girl's like, "It's your idea, don't pussy out now," and they do the most punk fucking thing you could do, which is they play Nazi Punks Fuck Off by Dead Kennedys in front of the Nazis. And like, weirdly, if you look, there's some Nazis that are like digging it. They're like jumping around to it. But for the most part, they're booing or getting thrown bottles at them.
Bottles and spitting at them and shit.
And then they play that, and the guy's like, "Thanks, that was a cover," And they go into their set, and fair play to them, they won them back. Like, some of the Nazis were into it. They were fucking, my throat's fucking up. They were moshing. They were fucking, you get this like weird slow-mo, like 2 minutes of these Nazis, moshing around or whatever. Which I'm gonna be honest, I could have done without that part. But
Well, it was like a symbolism or something because like everyone in the mosh pit and like who was out in the crowd was all
hmm
wearing black and everything, and the only bit of color was them on stage, and you saw them like through the bodies, whatever.
yeah,
It was kind of a cool shot,
yeah,
but like there's a point before that to where they're singing the song making fun of everybody,
uh,
where the two girls walk in and it goes slow mo and it like shows
yeah.
them walking through, and you know nothing about these people
No, but you assume
at
I'm
all.
like, well, they must play a part in this somehow.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, those are the bad. Those are those the vampires, right? Because you have like I said, at this point in the movie, you have no clue. This
Yeah,
is just like a punk rock like behind the scenes or
yeah.
whatever.
Well, at this point,
And
yeah, at this point, I just thought, oh, like because Patrick Stewart's in it, and I assumed, based off of his head, I was like, well, he's gonna be the head skinhead, Uh,
yeah,
I just assumed that like them singing that song was gonna piss off and that was gonna be like the basis of the movie, and then like somehow the Nazis would keep following them around, like to wherever they went or whatever, and Patrick Stewart. But that's not what happens. We'll get into but yeah,
well,
so,
like that's the best part of this movie is that I couldn't figure it out before it happened.
hmm
Like nothing I saw.
I
Well, once it kicks off, I kind of was like, well, they're fucked,
yeah,
But
yeah.
up to that point, I was like,
I
oh,
kept looking for like the satanic stars somewhere because once again I'm like something's gonna happen, But yeah, so basically they play their show. They're leaving. It went well. It looks like they're
got
leaving.
paid.
They got paid, and then on the way out the door, the girl in the band goes, "Oh, I forgot my phone," and the one guy goes, "Don't worry, I'll go get it for you." And this ends up being the worst decision of their life because the guy walks into the green room and he sees a dead girl on the floor with a knife in her head and some big looking Nazis and another girl in the back. And he was like, oh shit. And dumbly, though, he does like try to call the police in front of them.
Yeah, like right away.
Yeah, which I was like, what are you doing? Like, and so they immediately grab him and they fucking usher them all into the green room. And that's where the rest of the movie takes place, for the most part, is in the green room. And once again, about 50 minutes in, I went, oh. I was like, this is why it's called Green Room. And yeah, so that's the premise of the movie. They saw a dead murdered chick. Now they've got to be dealt with, So the next steps is that the Nazi dude running the bar, he calls the cops back because they've already been on the phone with him. They know something's up. Or they call back and he answers and he goes, oh yeah, I was calling to report a stabbing. And he pays like these two skinheads to let the one guy like stab him or whatever. And he's like, don't worry, the blade's only 2 inches or something, so it's not a felony, And he pays them
I
off.
thought about this.
Yeah.
So he pays them, and he's like, "Give me the money. I'll hold on to it for you."
Yeah.
That poor fuck never got paid.
No, he never got paid. Yeah. But so he does that, and then this is also when Patrick Stewart shows up, is as the cops are there. He walks and they're like, "Is this your bar?" And he's like, "Yes, it is." In this Patrick Stewart voice.
Yeah, and it's like a more of a creepy old man voice.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It's very. I don't know.
Yeah. But so he shows up and the guy and he's like, "What's going on?" And he goes, the dead girl in there, the band saw it, And instantly Patrick Stewart starts talking about, well, who all knows they're here, And this is when I say the social media thing comes back because he's like, well, they've put it all over, their things that they're going to be here, so people know they're here. And then it's like, no, they didn't, because they don't have social media and stuff. So originally, I really do think that the Nazi dude running the bar wanted to let those guys go. I think when he paid to have the guys stabbed, he didn't plan on Patrick Stewart showing up. I think he really was gonna go, okay, and he was gonna like maybe slip them a little something extra or something. But I think he was gonna let him go because then later we won't get into it yet. But then later it comes back to he ends up playing a pivotal part in the movie, kind of.
I don't think he was planning on letting him
Oh
go.
yeah.
Because like as soon as this happens, as soon as they like get the people in the room, whatever,
Uh,
he goes outside, comes back with a gun,
Listen,
like instantly.
you just gotta be prepared, man. Um, well then, all right, a little bit of us go jumping ahead. When do you think the turning point was that he decided to let these guys go? And he walks in and he's like, "I want to go to jail," and he lets them
Um,
out.
okay, and this is just no one's going to understand this, but when he finds out that he gave the house band tainted drugs,
Oh yeah.
and he gets like a look on his face, and he's just sitting there, and he's like looking down or whatever.
Uh huh.
And then I think after that, he's just had enough of everything.
Yeah.
So, and I, like that guy would never, like, he gets his red laces, which for people who don't know, it's like a super racist thing for a guy to have.
So
I had red laces in my boots all through middle school
yeah,
and high school. No
a
clue.
little bit of
It
extra
was just like a
meaning.
fashion thing.
Yeah, a little bit of extra meaning. Apparently, red boot laces are most known for someone who's shed blood for the skinhead movement. Racist skinheads, which I kind of think that's all skinheads,
Yeah.
but will often randomly attack non-whites to earn their red laces. So that's a little bit more insight on what the red laces are.
So like he didn't even have his yet, and then Patrick Stewart just kind of gives them to him.
Yeah, well, he goes, "You earned these a long time ago, but fixing up this whole thing with the this or whatever, you've earned it." And then like the next scene, the guy's like, "I want to go to jail." It was
Yeah.
like, "Oh shit."
So it's like he's not in with the gang. He
Uh-huh.
seems just like a business guy.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Hey, I've had enough."
Yeah. That house band, which funny enough, turns out the house band's the one that murdered that girl, apparently. Because the guy comes up, what's their name? It's like Cow Corpse or something like that.
What is it? It's not cow catcher. What is it? It's something catcher. It might be cow catcher.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
All right, but anyway, the Nazi dude running the bar that we're talking about comes back in and he's like, "All right, cow catcher or whatever his name is, you guys are out of here." And so as he's leaving, the big, like, tall one turns around and he goes,
This dude I've seen in a movie.
He was
I don't know
huge.
the way they shot him.
Yeah.
or what,
and
but I'd let him kill me too.
Yeah.
I'd be like, "Sorry, bud."
and he turns around and he goes, "You guys' set was pretty good." And he goes, "What's that second to last song you played?" And the guy's like, "Toxic Evolution." And the guy goes, "Fucking killer, man. That's the one I did her to." And I was like, "Oh shit!" That was the hardest line in the movie. Was that's the one I did her to? I was like, "Oh shit!"
I didn't even catch it at first.
Oh,
'cause
yeah.
I was like, they're fucking or whatever, right? And he was like, "That's the one I did her to,"
Yeah.
and I was like, "Hell yeah, buddy, that's the one."
You're like, "Oh no!"
Yeah,
But
I was like high five in the
yeah.
air,
Oh yeah, I forgot about also before that happened, you get the girl in the band saying, "Maybe she's not dead. There's not a lot of blood." The guy that we're just talking about goes over and just takes the knife in her head and just starts dragging her across the room. And he pulls it out of her head and he goes, "There you go." And the blood starts coming out. And I was like, "Oh shit." And so yeah, so they leave. So then the band is left in there with the girl, who at the time I assumed was the girlfriend of the dead girl. That's where I assumed that was going. But
He was just a friend,
yeah, but it was just But the friend of the dead girl and this super chunky big dude who's like the security guy, and he's got a gun pointed at him, And the security dude locks the door after the people leave, which that'll come important later. So next thing you know, like, they just charge him. The one guy charges him and like bites him on the shoulder. I was like, "What are you doing?"
weird like battle cry.
Yeah, and he knocks him down, and like the girl runs at him, and he hits her. And then this is when you learn that motherfucker I kept talking about knows jujitsu, because he just takes this dude down and throws on an arm bar, and that's it. he's
Yeah.
like, he's like, all right, well if you move, I'm gonna snap it. And so they get the gun away from Big Boy. The door's locked, so no one can get in. And now they're at like a standoff. They're just in the room, and they got Big Boy over in the corner, and they're like, just sit there. Um,
Now, right here,
okay.
like when this kicks off, this next 20 minutes is the part of the movie that I just felt went on forever.
Yeah, I could see that.
And it's like, so they're inside and they have a gun, and the bodyguard, bouncer, I don't know, what do you want to call him? I think his name's Patrick. But,
Yeah.
so they have this guy hostage pretty much, and it's them arguing with fucking Next Generation. And it's like just them arguing for
Yeah.
like 20 minutes trying to figure out what to do. And I get it. In real life, I'd still be in that room.
Yeah.
Like, because there's no way to make a decision like that. You just seen a dead body, all
Yeah.
kinds of shit going through your mind. I understand it, but from a guy sitting on his couch at home,
Yeah.
I was like, God, just start shooting. What are you doing?
Yeah. So, like he said, they're arguing with Patrick Stewart a little bit. Patrick Stewart's like, "Hey, we just want the gun. It's unregistered. All this shit." And they at first they're like, fuck off. They like, and Patrick Stewart like leaves. They search around the room. They're looking for exits. And at one point and next thing the lights just go out, and I was like, oh fuck, because that is dark. And then weirdly enough, the bodyguard who I think should have immediately made a move sits still.
Yeah.
He doesn't do anything, and I was like, okay. And so
And when we say dark, we mean like actually dark. It's
Oh,
not
yeah.
like TV dark, like to where everyone you still see no, it's pitch black.
no, yeah,
Like,
it's
you
a
can't
room
tell.
with no window. It's just a black room. And so the Nazi girl flicks on her lighter, and she's like, "Everyone, be calm now." And I was like, "Oh shit!" And she goes over and sits down next to the bodyguard, and she's like, "If he moves, kill him." But then that doesn't really. I was like, "Oh, they're gonna be in this dark ass room." But the next time, the lights come back on. Like it was just a thing. They turned off the lights to go out, and Patrick Stewart is like, "Oh, we killed the breaker. Come back. We'll try again Sunday or Saturday." And he's like, "You know what? Free drinks from 2 to 4." And he's like, "Remember, it's not a party. It's a movement." And everyone's like, "Hey," and they go,
Yeah.
they go walking off. So this goes on for a while, like Tyler said, and then finally Patrick Stewart comes back, and once again same offer. I think he's like, "All right, give us the gun, and we'll let you guys go." And they're at first once again they're like, "Fuck off," and then the Nazi girl's like, "Well, ask for a phone, do a trade," and Patrick Stewart's like, "No." So finally, the jujitsu dude is like, "You know what? At this point, I'm bored. I'm just curious to see what's gonna happen." And I was like, well, "Okay." So they decide to just give him the gun, which, first off, watching it, you're like, you're dumb. But at the same time, they had 5 shots, so they could have taken some guys out with them, but it's either give them the gun, maybe they'll let you go, or just wait for them to come in, maybe take 2 or 3 with you, and then you just get shot anyway. So I get why they would do it, but at the same time, if I was in that situation, I don't know if I'd be giving up the gun, So they start, bass player dude starts reaching out his hand to give Patrick Stewart the gun. There's a little vent on the bottom of the door. And Nazi girl's sitting down here looking at Patrick Stewart's boots. And as the door keeps opening, she's able to see that the red laces are out there. And she's like, "They're going to fucking kill us. Close the door." But before they can do that, the red laces grab the bass player's arm and just start fucking...
If you look at his arm, it looks so weird.
Yeah. And
he's got like a big bulge really high up.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, you said some guy, side note, that like Thor had, or not Thor, Chris Hemsworth had little Popeye arms in his big chest,
Yeah, yeah,
and like this guy had like super deformed looking Popeye
yeah.
arm, and I just love how they had him crying for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, because so they get the gun, and then dude pulls his arm back in, and it's like, it's floppy, it's all, it's cut open. Like, it's destroyed. And he's just over there, just crying. Reasonably so, I would say. And during this, the bodyguard tries to get up, and dude has him to keep the bodyguard around. They had put him back in the arm part position, and so dude he breaks the guy's arm, and then bodyguard gets back up again, and they're like, "Oh shit!" So dude throws on a chokehold, gets him down. He's like, "Tell me when he's out," and the girl is like, "He's out." But then it turned he wasn't out. I think he was out for like a second, and then he woke back up, and he starts to get up again. So dude throws a chokehold on him again, and they're like,
Yeah.
"How long is this going to take?" And this is when the one person in the movie finally does something. I'm like, "Thank you." Which is the Nazi girl picks up the box cutter that the guy had and just very nonchalantly just up the guy's stomach and just kills him. Like,
Well, I want to say that he had choked him to death already.
yeah, you think?
She did that to see if he would respond,
Mm.
and he didn't move at all.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can make the argument that he was just passed out. 'Cause
Yeah.
even if he was passed out, he still wouldn't feel it. Right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I mean, keep in mind,
So
we watched a movie where fucking guy got knocked out and then his girlfriend drilled a hole through his leg and but yeah, so
that was a
that's
crazy thing. Yeah.
yeah, so that's our first Nazi blood that's spilled. Well, I guess if you don't count the girl who's dead on the floor, but yeah, they
It
killed.
was pretty gruesome.
Yeah,
too.
it was.
Like I wasn't expecting it. Like you see the arm and you're like, okay. And it's as bad as we're making it sound. It didn't look that gruesome, right? Like I wouldn't call that gore. It was just an injury
Uh
or
huh.
whatever. But that stomach slit thing, that was gore.
Yeah,
Like it was,
yeah, yeah.
it was something.
So now now shit is real. They've killed a guy. Dude is fucking his arms all fucked. They end up finding the this basement, and they like kick a hole through the floor, and they go down. And this is when you find out, oh, there's this whole drug operation and shit going on too, right? Unfortunately, basement really doesn't do anything because the hatch up top, there's a lock on the other side, so they can't get out. They do find some duct tape though, where then they duct tape up the dude's arm, so it's just kind of like. And so then for the rest of the movie, in my notes, I called that guy duct tape anytime he was anytime he was talking. And so at this point, jujitsu dude is just like, well, fuck it. He's like, let's just go. He's like, maybe one of us will live, And I was like, shit, I kind of feel you. There's nothing else to do. So they all get up and they're just gonna leave and try to make it. And
My
as
favorite thing
yeah,
is as they're leaving, people are asking questions and like no one cares.
yeah,
The
yeah,
guy's like, "Should I hide?" He goes, "Oh, fucking do
yeah.
it."
He's like, do whatever you want, man.
I
But
was like, "Wow."
yeah, and as they're leaving, this is when the girl in the band suddenly goes, "All right, it's Simon and Garfunkel," and then the other dude's like, "It's Prince," and they tell what they're, they went for the punk pick, and now they're like showing their real music taste.
Can I
And
ask
the
you a
one dude
question?
still doesn't answer. He's still like, I don't know.
Would you be ashamed to pick Prince?
No, like,
Yeah, like that's Simon Garfunkel. I can understand that. I'm a big fan of
yeah,
of them. I borrowed Bag CD a long time ago,
yeah,
never gave
yeah,
it back. And well, he gave it to me.
yeah,
He was like, "Don't even worry about it." I said, "Okay." But so I like both these bands. Prince isn't a band where I would be like, "Oh, I mean, he's considered one of the best entertainers of all time,
uh
right?"
huh,
Like, and the total package too, because he sang, wrote, and did everything.
yeah.
Played all the instruments, everything. So I don't understand why you'd be like, "Well, I guess it's not punk rock, right?"
Yeah, they're like, we can't, Oh,
Well, at the beginning of this,
the
I
girl.
limited us. So.
Yeah, I think the girl. One of the people chose Minor Threat, which that was a good pick. I like Minor Threat, and then someone else picked the Damned at the beginning. That was I just remembered what the other two bands were. But yeah, so they leave.
It was Simon and Garfunkel and Prince. The other guy stuck with
The other guy stuck with
Misfits.
Misfits, and the guys were like, "All right, fucking hardcore."
And the weirdo girl who didn't understand really what they were talking about
Yeah,
picked Madonna and then
someone else. Yeah,
I don't remember who it was.
I can't
It
either.
was someone real punky, but
Oh, she picked Slayer.
yeah, it
Yeah,
was Slayer,
Madonna
yeah.
and Slayer.
Not punky at all, but
So they go walking out, and instead of just hauling ass like I think I would have, they they just walk. And I was like, okay. And this is a part of the movie that I got confused in, where I think it was the lighting, and I swear they changed up where people were in the line when they left. Because as soon as they enter the room where the fucking show goes on, a dog comes running in, and Homeboy gets his neck chewed out, and he's dead. And I thought that was Duct Tape Dude at first, because I swear he was in where that guy ends up being. So who got killed by the dog at first? Was that Jujitsu?
that was the guy who put the duct tape on Duct Tape.
Okay, and
I
then
don't remember his name. The lead singer.
yeah. And then someone goes up through this kitchen area through a window and just machetes. And they just start chopping them. And I'm assuming that was Jiu-Jitsu because he was the only other guy left.
That was the drummer.
Yeah. And so instantly, the two dudes are dead. Duct Tape and the two girls, they go and they're back in the green room. They just run back and lock the door. And I was like, oh shit. And then,
So they show the lead singer is down on the ground getting devoured.
Uh-huh.
And the guy calls the dog off.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there and he's not dead yet. But he sees a shotgun under the bar.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, here we go. Spoiler warning, that shotgun is never used. No one fucks with it.
Yeah.
And that was another point in this movie that bugged the shit out of me.
Well, yeah, because he's still alive, and he looks over at the girl getting attacked by this other Nazi dude.
It was a dog. The dog was biting his foot. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, shit, he's going to get up. And then the next thing you know, it ends up being Duct Tape comes around the corner with, like, a machete, and he kills the guy. And I was like, oh, he made it. And then that's when I noticed, oh, Duct Tape doesn't have a hole in his neck. And so,
oh no, that's when he doesn't kill anybody. He puts that microphone on the speaker.
That's right, yeah, and the dog,
and
yeah,
the feedback scares the dog off.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, so they go back to the green room. This is when you get a little bit of well, they go back to the green room, and then. Like, the next thing that happens is the door gets fucking kicked in, and it's dude from Scott Pilgrim, who was the Nazi at the beginning, who he ends up, you find out he's the Nazi that calls all the red laces. He, like, makes the meeting. So I would take it as in he's kind of the leader of the red laces. But he kicks in the door. He gets sprayed by this fire extinguisher that the punk girl had picked up at some point. And she sprayed like 7 people with it. And I remember it kept being like, stop using this fire extinguisher. To be fair, every time she used it, it ended up working pretty well for her. Like, so I was like, fair play, So Nazi dude gets in, and he looks over, and this is when you find out that the Nazi dude and the dead Nazi girl on the floor were planning on leaving. They were in a relationship, and they were going to leave the organization. Presumably, I would assume they would take their friend too, which I don't know why.
Well, she knew.
Yeah, she knew.
So yeah, I'm sure she was gonna go as well.
So I'm not sure why she's not dead, but
like, don't ask me how I know this, but like a lot of people, they'll join these groups and they get in. And they're all about the lifestyle or whatever, right? And they're like, rage, hate, everything else. And then, like, they get in, And then after being in it for like a couple years, they realize that everything people are talking about is just shit. Like none of
Uh-huh.
it makes sense. And then they want to get out, and it's pretty much like you have to run away and
Yeah.
just take off.
Yeah.
So it's like there's like a lot of documentaries and shit about it.
Yeah.
So it's like this is a very common thing. So they knew they had to like escape. They couldn't just
Yeah.
be like, hey, I quit and walk out.
Yeah. And so
So
dude, he tells the other Nazi guy, he's like, get out of here, you know? And so he's like, I'm gonna help you guys or whatever. I hate to say it, but I think that Nazi they let go ends up being that guy's downfall. Because the very next scene, they're like, all right, let's get out of here. Nazi dude just gets shot from the side in the head with a shotgun, and the guy's like, too slow. And I was like, holy fuck. I'm thinking this guy's gonna, lead
like
him.
be the savior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he is dead, like, instantly.
Well, the guy running the club is like he doesn't want that guy involved, and he's like the guy's been acting real weird.
Yeah.
And then they look in the trunk and they find out that the dude has like evidence.
Yeah.
That links him. That's pretty much buying his safety, right?
Yeah.
He'd
And
be like, listen, I got this, so stay away.
Yeah.
I'll turn it over. And then that's when the guy goes in with the shotgun. Ooh,
yeah.
that part I got.
Oh, yeah, it got
I didn't
me
get
good.
Scared, but I was like, holy fuck!
I was like, this movie doesn't care, dude. And so this is when the punk girl sprays the guy with the shotgun with the fire extinguisher to blind him enough for duct tape to pick up a machete and slash his neck, and he kills him. So then, fucking another dog comes running in and jumps on Punk Girl. Punk Girl's dead. She gets her neck chewed out, and it was like, holy shit. So now it's just Nazi girl and duct tape, and they're back in the green room again. This also when you get Patrick Stewart dropping out of nowhere, because like the whole movie they're Nazis, they're bad guys, but I feel like at some point they were like, you know what though, we haven't really done like anything too Nazi-ish. Nazi-ish? Sure. So they have Patrick Stewart talking about you gotta stay away from the N-word dope. And just dropping a random N-bomb in there. I was like, whoa.
That's him poisoning the band.
Yeah.
But yeah, he drops an N-bomb, and I was like, holy
came
shit.
out of nowhere, yeah.
Patrick Stewart would do that. Like, I would assume
cancel
that
Patrick Stewart. So then, at this point, I don't remember how many red laces there were. I think there was only maybe 5.
He says how many he wants, and I don't remember.
Yeah. I think it was 5, because I think he was like, I only want 5 people to know. And that's you and like the
names in this list or
yeah.
something.
And I only point that out because the next scene is, well, you get a little bit of exposition with duct tape telling this story about them playing paintball against these ex-Marines who like beat them every round, no casualties. And then last round, their friend Rick just fucking ran out there all crazy and killed the whole team. And he just kept shooting and laughing and shit, right? Yeah. So then red laces kick in the door and duct tape is standing there and he's shaved his head and like put Sharpie on his face. And they're like, who are you? And he turns out and he goes, Odin himself. It's like, what? And he jumps into the basement. And he goes running around. Rah! He's yelling and like banging his machete. Gonna be honest, that part I was kind of like, what's going on?
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah. So they go.
And then the girl did it too, though.
Yeah.
Like she had the face paint, not
yeah.
the shaved head.
So the one guy goes jumping in the basement, and he leaves the other guy up there to watch his back. As they do this, you get a side shot of the couch in the room and the cushion, and she pulls a Frank Reynolds, and she's in the couch the whole time. And she comes crawling out, and she gets behind the dude and like cuts his throat. And
that was really cool.
Yeah,
I like that part, but
yeah. And so they have this. It felt like it went on forever. It must have been like 5 minutes. It felt like it really didn't need to be. With the duct tape is around the corner. Dude is in the hallway with a shotgun. Homegirl's up top. She's got a pistol. Um, and at one point she fills up the basement with fucking the shit fire
Fire
extinguisher. Yeah,
extinguisher.
and that didn't really seem to do anything. Um, and then Machete Guy creeps up and he's gonna kill him at one point, but then I don't remember how did he turn around? Why did he turn around and see him?
So she tried to trick him out and like put his buddy through the hole,
Uh huh.
and he recognized who it was, and he was like, "Good try, whatever."
Yeah.
So then she smokes it, and then she sticks her best
Her
friend's ring.
best friend's legs. Yeah, and gets fucking. And I was like, oh
And
shit.
when he shoots her, he doesn't know it's the best friend, but she drops the empty gun.
Yeah.
And then he goes running up for it. And he like drops his shotgun and goes running up
Yeah.
because he fires his last shot. And that's why he runs away.
Yeah. But so at some point, Duct Tape ends up getting the shotgun, and he like is trying to load in the shell to shoot the guy. The Nazi just throws the empty gun at him and like hits him, and so they get into a fight on the ground, and they're trying to wrestle a shotgun. Meanwhile, Nazi girl just drops down in the basement, and once again, real nonchalantly, just walks up behind the dude and loads the pistol and fucking puts one through his neck. And
Coolest part of the movie.
yeah, that was pretty good.
It was so fucking badass. She just drops down, gets it, and it's like,
Yeah.
double tap, right? Like once in the neck, once in the head.
Yeah,
Like it was nothing. Like
yeah, and
so it's like someone throwing away a can, right? Like
Yeah.
it was crazy.
and so they kill them. They get back up, and Nazi dude runs the bar. The guy who's red laces earlier is standing there like in a fucking yeah, in an apron and shit. And they're like, "How many more?" And he goes, "It's just me," you know. And then this is when he gets he's like, "I want to go to jail," and so he ends up being the one. To be fair, everyone else was dead at that point. Apparently, he leads them out, and I think make them? Do they make him take him to where Patrick Stewart is?
I think so.
Okay.
I think they're going to the orchard because that's where the phone is.
Uh-huh.
And they get about halfway there and they hear gunshots.
All right.
And for some reason, the girl knows where it is.
Yeah.
Like where the house is. She goes, "Oh, that's the residence."
Uh-huh.
And then that's when they decide to like split
All
off
right.
or whatever.
Also, I hadn't mentioned it before, but it doesn't really come into play until here. Is that when they were searching the van that these guys are in, Patrick Stewart found their gas canister and the siphon and gas. So his plan is to make it look like they came on their property to siphon gas out of the cars and they killed them in self-defense, you know? So they're setting up this crime scene in the woods where the van is, and they've got dead bodies and the siphon and gas and shit. Nazi girl and Duct Tape end up catching this one random red lace dude and the guy that's in control of the dogs off guard. And they're like pointing guns at him, and they're like, throw your gun away and, tie up the dog and all this shit. And they make those two lead them to where Patrick Stewart is. And they get to Patrick Stewart, who's like just doing yard work or something.
He's like right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess he was setting up the crime scene, covering up footprints or something.
Yeah.
Like where they set everything up, but it didn't look like that. It looked like the dude was outside doing chores or something.
And so they say something to him, and the dog dude has got his hands up, and he goes, "Hey, wait a minute!" And he turns around, and Nazi girl just puts a shell into his chest, and like he's dead. And the guy is like, "So we're doing that?" And she was like, "Yeah, what did you think we were doing?" He's like, "I don't know, just reaching some kind of deal or something."
Now we're gonna pause here,
Okay.
because they have the weirdest dialogue, and I'm not sure if I hate it or love it.
I kind of
but,
dug
like,
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, this is stupid. Why the fuck are they saying that? But at the same time, I was there for the whole thing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, and then I was like, what's going on? And like, she's like, we doing that? And she was like, yeah, I thought we were just gonna mess up the crime scene.
Yeah,
And
that's what
she
he
was
said.
she was like, well, now we're here.
Yeah.
We come here to do this. And she's like answering her own questions and
Uh-huh.
shit. And I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
But
And
I
so,
am definitely the skinhead girl in this scenario.
oh yeah, she was. I was gonna say she is
Did it
great.
surprise you when Anton, or you call him Duct Tape,
Uh huh.
when he caught the skinhead like through the van door
Yeah.
with a gun, and he was like, "Give me your gun. I'll shoot you either way."
Uh,
Did it surprise you when he just didn't fucking blast them from the get go?
yeah, I was thinking they were just gonna do a classic, you
Just
know?
pop.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But
So, but
yeah.
yeah, I was like, man, this dude's got some restraint. He still has like innocence or something,
Yeah,
right?
like at that point, I think I'm like kill on sight, you know?
Yeah,
Like, but
I don't even get that close.
yeah, yeah. So they talked to Patrick Stewart a while, and I don't really remember much of the conversation. Doesn't really, have any consequence.
Well,
But
there isn't. He's just standing there, and they're talking to each
yeah,
other.
that's right.
And then this is one of the most weirdest parts of this
I
movie.
thought it was like I don't know what his plan was, but I thought it was
That's what.
cool as fuck. Is Patrick Stewart just decides fuck it, and he just turns around and starts walking away. I was
Yeah.
like, what?
And I was like, where is he trying
Yeah.
to get to? What is going on?
So he starts walking away, and you see him trying to pull out a gun from in his shirt. The red lace dude tries to charge homegirl, and she once again just blasts him. He's dead. And then these motherfuckers just light Patrick Stewart up. Just start fucking pow, pow. And like I know he takes a shell to the back. He gets shot in the leg a couple times. Fair game to Patrick Stewart. He manages to turn all the way around with the gun that he had taken earlier. That dude got his arm all chopped up with, and he's about to get a shot off, and Duct Tape gets a headshot on him. You get a nice little blood splurt that came out.
If you shoot someone and it's supposed to be 2 inches above an eyebrow, I think it's the right one.
Okay.
I might be wrong. Might be fully off. I'm a gun guy, but I'm not like a kill people guy.
Uh,
But apparently, that's where snipers aim
oh yeah.
to take away any motor functions.
Mm.
So if you shoot someone there, like in a hostage situation or something, it like severs whatever nerve to where they can't pull the trigger
Oh,
and shoot.
is that because he manages to get the shot off, but it's like over here at this point. It hits like a car.
It's something weird. Yeah, it doesn't hit anybody.
Yeah.
It should have killed the girl, and that would have been the perfect ending.
I thought that was what was going to happen. Was the girl was going to get killed, but she doesn't, and Patrick Stewart's dead. And then they go and they sit down next to the two dead guys that they had just killed. And this is also when you get another part I hadn't really talked about, is the dog that killed the punk girl. She manages to get a shot off at it, and she like gets it. It only looks like it gets it in the butt, but apparently it's lethal because the dog guy gives him a shot, and he's like, "This will keep him alive for another hour," you know. And so the dog, when they went back into the bar, once again they had just set up the interference, so the dog just pieces out. And like for the next 20 minutes, randomly you'll get shots of the dog just walking down the road or whatever.
Going home.
Yeah, and so they're sitting there, and here comes the dog, and I was like, oh shit, the final boss. And they have their guns, and they're just empty at this point, so they're doing like the Saving Private Ryan, where they're like, just empty clicks and shit. But the dog just goes and lays down next to its dead owner, and presumably just lays there to die as well.
Shout out to killer dogs and regular dogs alike.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I was kind of like, oh, but...
yeah. And then the fucking Duct Tape, he goes, I know what it is. I know what my deserted island band is. And the girl goes, tell someone who gives a shit. And that's the end of the movie.
Say that, and she say, "Who gives a fuck?" Or
yeah,
something.
and I was,
and
then it kicks in like, like punk, and I was like, fuck yeah! It's like, I really liked it.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, so a lot of times when you watch movies, at least movies like this, I think sometimes you really find yourself like being like, oh yeah, this person got killed, and the deaths are cool or whatever. But this movie, I don't know if it's because of who the villains were, or maybe because the deaths really weren't cool. They weren't made as like a big spectacle. It was like machete slap, and it was just you're dead. But I found I was rooting for the band the whole time, and like when they died, I was like, oh fuck, you know.
Well,
So
who else would you root for? You can't root for the
well,
skinheads. Come on,
yeah,
man.
not really, but like if you're watching a movie and like someone dies, and Friday the 13th, obviously you always root for Jason most of the time, but like someone's death, the way they do it is they always make it so like extravagant that it's
Yeah,
cool. This
it's
movie,
almost like chapters or
yeah,
whatever.
this movie, it's not cool deaths. It's this movie's a real movie. Like we said, there's no vampires. Like this is just a band who was in the wrong place, wrong time, and they're in like worst nightmare situation. It reminds me a lot of Funny Games, kinda, which Funny Games does play into a little bit of, with spoiler, with the rewind in time and shit.
Yeah.
But this is just bad people doing bad things to people who shouldn't have been there.
Yeah, it's a very like you could find yourself in this situation. Like it could happen to anybody,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like think about it. You go into go to a gas station, right? And you want to get a payday bar and a Diet Mountain
Uh
Dew,
huh.
which was usually what I have for lunch every
Okay.
day, guys. But you walk in and you grab your payday, and a guy comes in and he's robbing the place, and he just shoots the clerk right in the face.
Yeah.
Boom! You are instantly in the
You are
same
in
situation.
that shit. Yeah.
It's like, what do you do
My
now? And
Yeah, my dad told me a story. He did over the road trucking for years and shit. And he told where he's at a truck stop and he was going to the bathroom and this guy stopped him. And he was like, "You can't come in the bathroom." And he was like, "Well, why not?" And he was like, "Well, guys in there not doing too good." And my dad goes, "Well, I was in the Marines. They trained me for like all this healing shit or meds." He's like, "I
healing.
could." He's healing. I'm talking video game terms, and he was like, "Maybe I could take a look." And the guy was like, So he goes in there. Dude was just shot in the head, and he was like, just his brains blowed out.
Whistling, yeah.
Yeah. And my dad went, "I can't do it." He was like, but thinking about it, if you were in that situation and you went into that bathroom 20 minutes earlier, you could have been there to watch the guy get shot in the head, and then that's it. You're in that shit.
Well, I'm gonna guess that guy shot himself in the head.
He might, but the way it made it sound like it was a murder, a murder. But he might have shot himself in the head. Hey, by the way,
Yeah.
that Nazi girl, she's also a podcast alumni, which I didn't recognize. I recognized her name, and so I looked her up. She was the daughter in 28 Weeks Later.
Well, fuck yeah, because she was like 7 or
She was like
no,
14 or something in that
12.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it crazy that the whole time she was in the movie, I was like, she's pretty adorable. If she wasn't such a
Yeah, for a
skinhead,
Nazi, she's pretty
yeah,
cute.
like she's kind of weird out there, right? Like a creepy chick, whatever. But she was pretty
Yeah.
adorable. I was like, she's kind of cool. Funny enough, the regular lady in the band, opposite reaction. She was probably my least favorite person in the movie.
Oh yeah. But she had
Like,
that part you liked where she's riding on the back of the bicycle just taking pictures.
to me, that was like, I don't know, it was picturesque.
Uh
I was like, I want to do this.
huh. Yeah.
And I was like, none of us have a bicycle. It's like Tom will just drive around. I can just take pictures out of it. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
that's not the same.
By the way, apparently, that Anton duct tape, the guy who plays him, his pick for the Desert Island Band was Creedence Clearwater Revival. So
Well, I mean, you can say that after the fact, No one really knows.
a couple more. Just read through my fun facts, just because the scene that I talked about earlier, where the body is dragged around the room by the knife in its head, was inspired by a prison documentary that Jeremy Salner saw on television that greatly disturbed him. So he decided to put it in the movie. And then this movie had a budget of $5 million. Made a box.
Patrick Stewart got $4 million.
Yeah, made a box office of $3.8 million. which that's
I was gonna
not
say I've
surprising.
never heard of this movie,
Yeah.
and I think like it's really a shame because it should be seen, it should be
Uh-huh.
watched. Don't get me wrong. I think the subject matter is probably why
Yeah.
it doesn't get talked about more.
Yeah.
But it's a good movie.
Yeah. Uh,
Well, best
but
of worst
that's what,
of.
yeah, best of, worst of. My best of, uh, it's a, it's a toss up between the Nazi dude getting shot in the head, because that came out of nowhere. Like I said, I thought that guy was going to be the savior of the
Yeah,
day.
Daniel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or dude's fucking ice cold. He's like, oh yeah, that song's killer. That's the one I did her to. Like that line was so fucking hard. I was like, oh shit. So,
Oh, we didn't talk about this at all. But at the end of the movie, it shows that
oh
guy,
yeah,
and he's still alive.
he's still there, and his friend's next to him with a needle in his arm,
Oh yeah, I think all
presumably.
his friends are dead.
Yeah. And
And he's
so
just sitting there eating
eating
cereal or
cereal,
something.
watching like cartoons, and it was like, what's going on in this guy's head? You know,
Yeah,
like
and
so.
then it showed the interviewing guy like vacuuming in his house, and I was like, "Are skinheads about to
That's
break
what.
in and just kill
Yeah, it's
him?"
like mafia shit. Where then at the
Yeah,
you got to get rid of everybody.
but no,
But
they just showed him vacuuming.
yeah, but there's a part in The Wire season 2 where a character is walking down the road and it's the end of the season, and it's so long that you're like, oh man, this dude's gonna get fucking killed, and then the season ends and he doesn't get killed. The guy lives the whole show. And it was just, that's another one of the things where it's just like it's like this guy's gonna get killed and he doesn't. And me and Bags thought, we were like, yeah, how did that guy not get killed? But yeah. But um, worst of will probably be uh, not okay. I won't say worst of. I mean, it is, but worst of would just be, and it might have just been my own stupidness, is that I feel like they could have done a better job of letting you know who was who that was getting killed when they were leaving. Because, like I said, at first I was like, oh man, that guy's dead. But it was completely different people. Like, I was just lost. I was like, who's getting killed right now? So, that's it. Tyler,
I mean,
what's your.
so my best of isn't necessarily a scene; it's like an attitude of the movie.
Uh huh.
But it's so when they're escaping and the guy gets attacked by the dog, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh shit!" and the dude jumps over the bar and he jumps out the window, and then there's just a random skinhead there who just stabs him 17 times.
Yeah.
And like at that point, it sets it up to where no one's life is safe, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you hate when you watch movies and you're like, "Well, that's a main character;
Uh
they're
huh.
gonna make it," or
Yeah,
whatever.
because like the
But
jujitsu, I can't pronounce that word, but
jujitsu,
yeah, you assume like he's badass. He's like the
yeah.
main, but nope.
Yeah, he like jumps through that window, and you're like, okay, he's out, and then it's just stab, 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 and you're like,
Yeah.
they literally just killed a main character,
Yeah.
like and that's like because then all nothing's off limits, right?
Yeah.
They could have killed everyone and then given the whole movie to the skinhead girl, right? And it would have been fine because it would have fit the narrative, like
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Because they could have just swapped it out, and it probably I think would have been a better
And
movie.
and a part I thought they were gonna do like they all get killed, and then you look and there's another 50 minutes, and it turns out that they're not the main story, and it was gonna go to something else, you know. But they would. I don't know how I thought it was gonna work, but yeah, like this movie had a thing where it's like this could just switch. It could be something completely different. But anyway, what was your worst stuff?
Okay, I might catch hell for
Oh God.
this, and I probably will. I think that Anton Yelchin guy is a great
Uh
actor.
huh.
I think he's really good. He's in Star Trek and he's in a bunch of other things. I think he was in Criminal Minds where he was a serial killer, but he was a child and he hadn't killed anybody,
Yeah.
but he wanted to. and it's like this whole like it's season 3 or something,
Uh-huh.
to where he keeps wanting to kill people and he keeps hiring these prostitutes to come to his room to kill him,
Yeah.
but he never goes through with it. And in the end, spoiler for a TV show that came out 20 years ago, but he kills himself so he doesn't turn into a monster. So like I think that's him. I might be completely wrong,
Uh-huh.
but so I have like huge I mean, he's dead now. He died in a freak accident in real life.
Yeah.
But I think he was the wrong person for this movie.
Yeah.
I think he was way too quiet and timid, and there's a lot of times in this movie to where like there's a part where they're going to escape, and he looks at the skinhead girl and he's like, "Sorry about your friend."
Yeah.
And I was like, okay,
Well,
I know it's like trying to make like a relationship there, right?
why
Like it's trying
I
to be
took it
like,
as in
hey,
like because he's lost blood. I just thought it was him
yeah.
being weak.
But he's like that the whole rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Like he's telling the his pep talk or whatever, and he was like, and then Richard Lazio was like, "I'm just gonna do this," and then he talks. The thing is, the guy has such a way of talking that it was like his. We were who were we talking about this with the other day? I think it was on a podcast. It was Jeff Goldblum.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's the way he talks, like either lends itself to a character amazingly,
Uh-huh.
like the soft spoken, like whatever guy, or it's just kind of horrible.
Yeah.
And in a movie where you're killing Nazis slash your friends are getting killed,
Hmm.
I don't think the soft silent guy is the
Yeah.
one you want.
Weird,
To
weirdly enough, like the jujitsu dude, he had this weird where he was very soft spoken. Like, and
yeah.
he could get loud at points, but like during the interview, I just took it as in he was tired or something. But yeah, he was very soft spoken throughout the movie.
I want to say the jujitsu guy is the guy from Entourage. Not the main guy, but he's like the manager. But I'm not 100% on that.
No, he's not Ari.
No, no, that's the agent.
Oh, I,
The other guy is someone else. I can't remember his name.
the guy who runs the bar, is that who you're talking about?
No, no, the drummer.
Oh,
But I don't know. I might be wrong. Like I said,
yeah.
'cause I think he might be shorter. But everyone else, I think, did great. I think the female in the punk band, the guitar player, I think she was kind of horrible. And again, this is gonna sound really weird,
Mm-hmm.
and I might catch hell for this, but I'm really surprised there wasn't like a rape aspect in this movie.
Yeah, no
Anytime you
raping.
get, anytime you get like innocent females in like this type of movie, there's always that like undercurrent, right,
Yeah.
or undertone. And this didn't even fuck with it. They were like, "No, you're dog food,"
Yeah.
and that was it.
Yeah.
So it
Um,
was it was kind of weird.
there's also there's a moment we haven't talked about that got me good.
The rape scene.
No, which is they're driving in the van, and jujitsu dude is like, "Hey Tim, you want to know something I ain't never told anyone before?" The guy's like, "Sure, man," and he's like, just farts, and I thought it was coming, but then he did it, and I was like, "Nice." So,
So I mean, we don't do a lot of stuff.
uh
I
huh,
mean, we hang out. We used to hang out a lot more.
yeah,
We're all work together, but it's like passing gas is like normal or
uh
whatever.
huh,
But the reaction they all had to that dude letting out the smallest fart I've ever heard in my life,
yeah,
because it was just like a poop, like it wasn't like a decent fart. And they were like, "Oh God, roll the windows out again," and I was like, "That's one fart,
uh
guys. Come
huh.
on." I was like, "Man, be busting ass all the time. Like what?" So I was just like, but it was kind of funny. But
Yeah. There's also when they get to the guy who they're doing the interview with, because they can crash at his house, and the one guy's like, "I'm going to bed," and they're like, "All right, we're gonna drink," and then they put on a record, and it's like
it was
loud
the
as shit.
loudest.
And I was like,
Yeah,
"Man, your
yeah.
buddy's trying to sleep," and then it literally you get like a second of music, and then it cuts to the next day.
It was so incredibly loud, and like I don't understand that.
Yeah.
Like even if So me, you, and Maverick know each other well enough to where we usually think we play games even, so we know usually what the other person's thinking
Uh-huh.
half the time.
Yeah.
And like when we get downed and Mav's the only one up, we know he's not going to come save us.
Yeah.
This is not going to happen. He's not resing
Uh-huh.
anybody. But I don't see how you could ever be in a social situation, even if you're good friends, and have music playing that fucking loud.
Yeah.
But in the same aspect, Mav loves to play his music so fucking loud when we're in the car, and so I can speak to experience. It's annoying as shit. You
Uh-huh.
can't have a conversation. You can't talk. Everything goes what? What? Like. So I don't understand. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I feel like there should have been a relationship in that band. I've never known like a female in a band with like four other dudes, and there not be like that person's boyfriend,
That
girlfriend,
was
or whatever, right?
it's behind the scenes. That's the prequel coming out.
Oh,
But
just saying. I mean, it just happens because you're together all the time.
uh-huh.
So, like, I don't know, like the lady from Ginger, who's like the lead singer. I think she's with the bass player,
Yeah.
and like every band like that's kind of like
Yeah.
they're always with someone
Sonic
else unless you're
Youth.
Paramore.
Yeah. Well, there's stories.
There's yeah, there's,
But fucking also that punk club is not really like a punk club because during the when all this shit's going on outside you get one of the fuck and I listen to some low screaming like that, but for the most part that's not my like if I'm listening to screaming it's more of like a high scream.
like Dio.
Yeah, like ah! But like Slipknot, one of my favorite bands. Like that's what I would consider. Even though he doesn't really have a high scream. I mean, if you listen to people talk, the first two albums, that's just him screaming. Like there is no vocal
Yeah,
performance.
I
Like,
would say Wait and Bleed is him pretty
yeah,
screamy.
yeah. But
But
nowadays he's got more of a low.
now,
I will say
yeah,
he just debuted that new mask, and which I think is fucking way better than the one he had been rocking since the new album came out. That was like the clear mask that he would put face paint under. This one resembles a lot of what's that movie? Nightbreed, the killer from
yeah,
Nightbreed, which he says is one of his favorite masks. So that makes sense that he would.
it's pretty good.
It's I like it, and I was watching the live performance, and Corey he can sometimes he nails it, and sometimes it's like okay, which I guess with that type of vocals and doing it is, but he was doing it, and I swear to God, like he and people were calling out. He just had COVID recently, which I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But there's points in there where he's doing the growls and shit that sounds like Iowa, and I was like, oh shit, he's back. It's like oh fuck. But anyway, they're supposed to have a new album coming out, which is like blasphemy because they do like one every 5 years or something. But they say they got a new one like almost done.
Oh, you think that's because they couldn't tour because of COVID, so they all ran out of money?
Maybe, and then there's the whole thing with Joey dying and fucking. I think something else bad happened. The Chris stuff happened before the new album came out, so that's in the past. I think that lawsuit got dropped, by the way, too, which makes sense. It's one guy versus, Clown and Corey, who have fucking, according to Chris, have been keeping all the assets. So, but anyway, all right. Well, that's about the end for this one. Next week, it's Maverick's pick.
Oh,
And he has a pick. Are you ready for his pick?
yeah, I guess.
Because, I mean, horror people watch it, and it's part of the horror thing. I wouldn't really consider it a horror movie. But I haven't watched this since I was a kid either. Maverick's going back. Didn't the last movie pick was like a movie we hadn't watched since we were kids? No, that we just did Jurassic Park. That was why I was thinking of that. But anyway, Tyler, we're going all the way back to 1983. Never mind, 1988. I jumped a little bit. with the Michael Keaton classic Beetlejuice. So
That's not a horror movie at all. It's a comedy.
it's like a, if you look it up, it's like a comedy fantasy, and then like real small underneath is horror. It's like So I mean, I've watched horror podcasts where they do it. Once again, this is the Jurassic Park argument where I'm like,
Why? Why are we letting him pick a movie when he won't even show up or watch the movie?
yeah. So
We might have a different movie
oh
now. Actually, I
yeah.
don't know. I
So
don't know. We got a couple days where we can just edit that out.
so
But it's a shit movie. It's not
I
like a
haven't
horror at all.
I haven't, like I said, I think I watched it when I was a kid. I don't know if I watched it all the way, but I think I think they might be remaking it. That seems like some shit they would remake. I mean, they're remaking everything, but
The only reason he even brought that up is because people are talking about Beetlejuice now because of Candyman. Because it's the same kind of
oh
rules.
yeah, yeah.
I
Well,
bet you Matt
Beetlejuice is
hasn't ever
five, right? Or
Beetlejuice is three,
three, and
and
Candyman's
Candyman
five
is five.
in the mirror. Beetlejuice, you could just say
Yeah,
that wherever,
yeah.
and then that motherfucker pops up.
And he's like drop dead Fred or whatever.
Something. Who's the
There's no
guy
way
in
that's
it
a horror
too?
movie.
The guy in it's
What?
someone famous, right? Is it Alec Baldwin?
No,
Or no,
it's
Baldwin's in
it
the
is
Pixar, is it?
Baldwin. He's the dad.
Oh
He's not
shit,
the
yeah, it
bad
is.
person. And then the bad guy's the principal from Ferris Bueller.
Uh huh.
And I can't think of what else. I think he was in
I
Problem
think
Child or
Alec
something.
Baldwin is he in this too? Where are you, you motherfucker? I guess not. No. Barry Bostwick. I thought Alec Baldwin was the husband in the Rocky Horror Picture Show. But he's not.
No, that's silly.
Yeah, it's not.
There's no
Brad.
way this is a horror film, like at all. I don't know why people even consider it. Is it because it deals with death, so they call it
Probably.
a
I
horror
mean,
film?
it's like how Nightmare Before Christmas is a horror movie, but or Coraline. Coraline's more.
Have you seen Coraline?
I've seen parts. I've never watched it all the way through.
That's a scary fucking
Oh
movie.
yeah.
Like Beetlejuice isn't. Like
Hey,
I don't know. I'll watch
well
it.
maybe it'll really get you. I can't do Beetlejuice, but isn't that's how he sounds, right? He's like, hey, come here, motherfucker.
Yeah,
Isn't it rated R?
I
Doesn't
don't.
he cuss in this?
No, I don't think
No.
so.
Okay.
Pretty sure it's like PG-13.
Oh well, we're gonna be on a because my movie's gonna be from the '70s, so we're gonna have 2 weeks in a row with some classics. So my movie. My movie's gonna be a gem. Maverick is gonna hate it. So
Oh, that's good because he's not gonna watch it anyway.
so and we'll find
I'm not. It's rated PG.
yeah, but is that like real PG or is that when PG was like you showed tits and shit and then they hadn't?
No, this is like real PG.
Yeah.
Like literally, they play this whole movie on like TNT, like uncut.
Uncut, yeah. They have
Like,
to
that's
edit
how
out.
PG it is.
They have to edit out like Jesus Christ. They're like Jeebus or something. Like that.
Like there's a weird scene where there's a lady who's cut in half, and he's like looking at her legs.
Uh
That's like the closest it gets to like sex or
huh.
whatever.
Okay. All right.
I just I just hate Winona Ryder so much.
Haven't we watched her in something else that we've done on the show?
I don't think so. Stranger
Oh,
Things,
was
but
she,
we haven't talked about that.
was she in one of the Texas Chainsaw movies?
No,
All right, I'll do a quick.
she's in Edward Scissorhands.
We haven't
but
done
we haven't
that.
watched it.
We haven't done Dracula. Haven't done Beetlejuice 2. Maybe she isn't. All right. Well, whatever. Anyway, next week,
We brought her up though. We've had to because I always
probably.
complain about
Yeah.
her.
So,
She's the female Forrest Whitaker.
next week, Beetlejuice. Let's see. So when this comes out, I guess Monday, fucking Jurassic Park, we did that. So go listen to our review of Jurassic Park.
I wonder if we should release that as a smoke
I
break.
yeah, like yeah, I don't know. Once again, like we said, the argument about is horror or not horror.
I don't know. Maybe we should make a whole new bracket for it, like fan requests, but like think of a better title, right?
Yeah,
You know, I'm good with titles.
yeah.
So
Anyway, all right. Well, thanks for watching.
weekly write up. That's what it's gonna be. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Go read uh, The Boys.
Why does he look cross-eyed?
He fucking dude looks dumb in these books. I mean, Huey, that was his name. I was having trouble remembering his name. You want to know? I'm through book 1. Okay.
That was the boy.
Yeah, of The Boys. Huey and Starlight had one scene. They're not. They don't know each other like or a thing. Like Huey and the boys didn't fight any of the boys in book 1. They go to like Russia and they fight like some B-level superheroes to let like the boys know, hey, we're coming. But anyway,
what's the ETA on your mask? The new.
it's supposed to be here October 8th.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
I
so
wonder if they're trying to get it to you for Christmas or Halloween.
I don't know.
They're like, we'll get it to you in time, buddy.
Yeah.
You're like,
The
time
way
was 2 weeks ago.
the way it looks like it looks like I mean it's gonna be better than these two masks. I mean price wise it better be, but it looks like it's gonna be like a hard mask. You know, it's gonna get here. It's gonna be a rubber, and I'm like But
Well, I mean, it's probably going to be like some form of latex, but it's probably going to be
I don't think
like
so.
boot latex, not
I think it's gonna be a hard mask.
hard man.
I don't know. It's the Freddy versus Jason one where he's got like Freddy's claws scratched over his face, which I keep one.
I was confused. I'm sorry. I thought you ordered the Texas Chainsaw one.
Oh no.
But I forgot it's a Jason
Yeah,
mask.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully it's hard.
Yeah,
Hopefully it's a real fucking mask.
I would hope
right?
so.
Like,
Yeah. Which Freddy versus Jason, I might just pick it solo one week because you don't really need to watch like the series up to that point. But it's really good. I like it. So I might just pick it solo one week. It's not. It'll be a while because, like I said, I still got like 5 movies that are in the queue.
So we should do one movie a year where we get to pick it, and it's we'll call it bonus check. And it's just a random movie that we want to. I mean, this doesn't have to be your bonus check, right? Because that's kind of fitting for the channel. Because there's a movie like we all have a movie that we love and everyone else hates.
Yeah.
So I think mine might be Alien versus Predator.
I fucking love that movie.
Really
It's so good.
Like every time you bring it up, people are like,
Yeah. And then by the end, you're like, I hope the Predator bangs that chick.
yeah. And then you watch the second one, you're like, what did they
The second
do?
one's not good. Me and Dad went to the theater to watch it. And we were like, what is this shit? But, yeah, no. My first pick is going to be Nightcrawler.
I mean, I don't know.
Pissed.
We'll just do it like we do Smoke Break.
Yeah, we tried to do a family tradition in my house a while ago where we were going to do a thing where, like, once a month, everyone got to pick a movie, you know, and we would watch the movie. And
Did your mom ruin this?
Yes, because my movie, I picked Tenacious D in the Pick of Destiny, okay? And so, first off, my mom was not happy to sit through that because Jack Black and Kyle Gass, that whole movie, fuck, shit, dick, like the whole time. My dad then proceeds to break the rules to begin with because he picks 2. He picks Porky's and Porky's 2, and we watch that as a double feature. And then as my mom never picked a movie. She just never. So we never had a third movie night because my mom never picked one.
Yeah, but if you had a book club, I bet your mom would pick a book.
Right, fucking bitch.
She just likes different media, you know. It is what it is.
Yeah. So anyway, all right. Well, thanks for watching.
Well, you know what her movie would be.
Well, yeah, it was either gonna be Grease,
Grease?
or it's gonna be fucking Urban Saturday Night Fever. Those are like her two
There's
movies.
a theme here.
Yeah, yeah, I know. So anyway,
You sounded so sad.
yeah, yeah.
Like, I know, I know.
All right.
My mom's retarded.
Thanks. Thanks for watching. Go check out Green Room. It's a good movie, and we'll see
Great movie.
you next week for
3 million.
Beetlejuice. What? Okay. Yeah.
It only made 3 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a shame.
Yeah.